Okay. Um, so today's class is all about the generating leads and building more business. All right. And there's a bunch of lead generation things out there. This kind of came from our short conversation the other day of, I'm doing this and this and this. Is there anything else I can do? Well, obviously, there's a crap load of stuff that you can do. I will say that I'm going to present all of these things that I think are solid and work. And then at the end, kind of say, hey, you got to pick three, maybe four of these to really focus on. You can't spread yourself too thin. You can't be doing like 10, 15 lead generation things, but kind of half assing them. All right. You kind of have to focus on a handful at most that is going to be the bulk of your business. And if you don't like one, then you can replace it. But you must consistently fill your funnel. All right, that's where the hot warm list comes into hand. The more people you have on that hot warm list of that are actively searching, those are eventually going to find something that they like, and you're going to have business. All right, the more leads means you're ready for fallout. All right, you just pile as many leads in there as possible. So everybody is a lead or a referral partner. And this is so true, and I'll explain some stories in a minute. But everybody you talk to, it still blows my mind um, that they're interested in real estate or in some sort of way. Maybe they're not ready to buy right now. Maybe they know somebody that's looking. But you want to talk to anybody and everybody. And once you do, you need to add them to your database or to your hot warm list. And then you develop based off of their interaction, you develop um, how you're going to follow up. All right. So everybody is a lead or a referral partner. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. These are some really easy questions that I highly recommend that you just kind of have as a go to. But real simple is, what do you do for work or a living? All right. So you can literally be at the dog park. You could be at the golf course. You could be at the grocery store, at church. You could literally be anywhere and everywhere. All right. And you just meet somebody and you introduce yourself. Hey, how's your day going? I'm Tony. Usually when you give your name first, they are going to return the favor with their name. So now you have their name, all right? You've made a little bit of a connection. Hey, Alan, how are you doing?
Hey, Tony.
Thanks
How
for
are you?
hopping in. Good. Alan, I don't know if you've met Christina. Have y'all met?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
not yet.
Okay. Alan is an awesome producer and been with EXP for quite a while. He's the one that brought me into EXP. So he's in my upline above Mark Chambers. He was one of the originals for our little group here. So a lot of stuff that Alan has taught me, I've used and morphed into, different trainings. So thanks for hopping in and let me know what you think,
Yeah,
Alan. So
yeah. And nice to meet you.
yeah,
Nice to meet you too.
cool. So again, what you introduce? Hey, my name's Tony. Hey, I'm Christina. How's your day going? Blah blah. I've met multiple clients or potential clients. I'll say nobody's closed yet. At the dog park, at my apartment. And we're just sitting there. The dogs are running around. Hey, what's going on, man? Blah blah. We get to talking, and all of a sudden, oh, you teach? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was a teacher. Oh, well, they're gonna ask you, well, what do you do now? Oh, well, I'm in real estate. Oh, really? Well, I'm looking for a house, or I know somebody's looking for a house. So even on the golf course, when I go to the golf course to not even thinking about real estate, I've met several potential clients. They're like, "Oh, what do you do?" Most of them are like retired people, and they ask me what I do, and boom, real estate. And I end up giving them a card, and they're like, "Oh, I have a rental property that I'm thinking about selling," whatever it is. So boom, all of a sudden there's a lead. So going back to everybody's a lead. Talk to the people. Crazy story. I was on vacation in Kansas City at a Dick's Sporting Goods store picking up some Kansas City Royals apparel for a game. I don't even know how real estate came up, but the lady was like, "I'm interested in buying. Do you have a card?" And I gave her my card and this and that, and I told her I'd connect her with somebody. Of course, I never did, but it just comes up pretty frequently. And I always relate it to band. And I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this, but I'd be out and about meeting somebody new, and I'd kind of be embarrassed that I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a teacher," and they're like, "Oh, what do you teach?" I'm like, "I'm a band director." All right, and like every freaking time, they're like, "Oh, I was in band in middle school." Like everybody and their mother was in band, you know.
Yep.
All of a sudden, there's that
100%.
connection, and boom, like, oh, that's cool. You know, they don't think it's weird when you mention real estate. They have some kind of interest. The other question is, who do you know that is looking to buy or sell in the next 6 months? You know, now, 6 months, a year, whatever it is. But the most important is who. You know, so as you're following up with a sphere person, you say, hey, um, it was great catching up with you. I look forward to having lunch next week. Let's get together. Hey, real quick, who do you know that is looking to buy or sell, possibly looking to buy or sell in the next 6 months? Don't ask, do you know? Because do you know is a yes or no question. All right. And they're just going to say no most of the time. Or who do you know? They're at least going to ponder that for a minute. And they might know somebody, or they'll more than likely say, I'll keep you in mind if something comes up. And that's all you want to do. All right. Use your sphere or people you meet to get referrals. And people love to talk about real estate. And so, some quick story time. I already kind of told you a little bit about the golf course and the dog park. I already kind of told you all the stories. My biggest deal yet came from a referral that this lady started talking to my wife while walking the dog on the Riverwalk, and she started following me on Instagram, and we connected, and she referred me business, and it's great. So it's just literally everybody. I can't say that enough. Is a walking deal, right, or a referral partner. So what I ended up doing, and I'm going to go back and forth a little bit and kind of share some of the slides from Rick Tankersley's trainings. All right. And I'm going to mention his name quite a bit because I attended a lot of his trainings when I first started, and he continues to do them. But he shared this in his Facebook groups, and encouraged all of us to download it so we had the material, to share with others, etc. So I pretty much copied and pasted a bunch of stuff. Again, I hope I don't get in trouble for that. Again, this is all Rick Tankersley's stuff, and I highly encourage all of the things that he teaches. So one of his big things is he did like a 15 ways of generating business, right? And a lot of these are great, and some of them you're going to like, I'm not really interested in doing that, and that's perfectly fine. You got to find the 3 to 5 things that you go, okay, I could get behind doing that and get excited about it. All right. But bottom line is sphere. We've talked about this for several weeks. All right. But the sphere are the people that know, like, and trust you. Are they ready to buy and sell right now? Probably not. Most of the time, not. But do they know somebody? Even if you have like 20 people on your sphere, all right, what if they knew 20 people each, right? Now all of a sudden we're talking about 400 people that are hearing your name about real estate, right? And obviously that's a very low number. You probably know about 100, and they know probably about 100 each. So now we're literally talking, too much math. Is that 1,000? 10,000, right? Something like that. Um, but you get the idea. So reach out to them. Here's a simple script. How you doing? Just call and let you know I'm officially in real estate since you're new. I would change that. I'd go, hey, just catching up. And always find a reason to call. I wouldn't necessarily go down my phone and just go, randomly I'm calling this person. Maybe I saw something on Facebook, maybe I saw something on Instagram, maybe it's what are we, August, so we have Labor Day coming up. Maybe wrap it around a holiday. Hey, I hope you and the family are doing well, whatever it is. They'll respond. And then all of a sudden you start a little conversation, catching up. Okay, cool. Hey, real quick before I let you go, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? And they're not going to be offended by that, because I think the most important thing in this conversation is not necessarily, hey, who do you know? Don't get them on the phone and go, hey, who do you know? I need to hurry up and get to the next one. It's really just a quick catch up. And honestly, when I do it, it makes me feel good. It makes me like go, that was really cool. I haven't talked to Alan in a while. It was cool to touch base with him, and glad he's doing well. It gives you a good feeling, and then all of a sudden you throw that question in at the end, and it could definitely lead to business. Open houses, I'm back in the game, Alan. I'm doing another open house on Saturday. So
Hey,
I
can I jump in real quick with something, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just going back to that conversation with the sphere. Uh, Someone we all know, Ragsdale, called me on my birthday,
Yeah.
and I realized that the only people that called me on my birthday were my parents and Jim Ragsdale. And so I told him today, I was like, "Hey, man, that really meant a lot," which it really did. And I know that he got a positive feeling out of doing it too. So this is a good example of, especially if not just, not just a phone call to ask for business, but just like that happy birthday call, or like Tony, you taught me, like scrolling Facebook, you see one of those life events like a wedding or anniversary, to make that touch, I think is really meaningful. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Again, anytime, and Christina, the same thing. If there's a question, most of the time I'm looking at my slides and not really looking at y'all's photos over here. So just chime in and be like, hey, real quick, feel free to do that. But I did a lot of open houses. I've kind of told you my story about when I first started, and I have a ton of names that I still haven't gone through completely, and touched again. But I was like, hey, I have pretty good business right now. I got several closings this month, a couple next, but I'm of course wanting to continue to keep it rolling, right? So it's like, well, let me see if I could do an open house this weekend and get some business in this area. So found one, called him up, boom, he was excited, sweet, done, it's set, right? But a lot of signage. We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago when we did this. Is just the signs will get them in. I simply looked at my area of TPC, and there was one right off of Bulverde Road. I'm like, well, Bulverde Road is very busy, so I'm just going to do that one. It's not even the cutest home. It's nice. It's okay, but it's like, hey, it's super easy to get to. So hopefully, I get some decent traffic there. Right. And then you're just starting conversations. Christina, how many open houses? You've done one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just the one, and then the next weekend I had COVID.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you'll get back into it, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. I'm probably going to be a little rusty, but again, it's going back to that conversation, and I'm going to kind of pivot here. Right now, I have several referrals that I'm working right now from people that I haven't even done a deal with. And I think it's simply, and I'm not even great at it. I don't think I am, but I think it's just treating people honestly and being easy to talk to, having a conversation like this, no pressure, no nothing, helping them with whatever they need. And then all of a sudden, these people just said, hey, I'm sending you a referral. Like, that's awesome. I haven't even really gone above and beyond for you, and you felt comfortable enough to send me business. So again, those are a couple that I met at an open house, and it was like, we haven't done anything yet, but they're sending me business, so that's pretty awesome. Make a conversation, and obviously you want to try to get them to sign in, and then switch properties are super important. We talked a little bit about that, um, and then follow up. All right, we kind of gave several ideas of following up, and always try to find a reason for the follow up. Social media, we've talked time and time again about this. And so a lot of this is going to kind of be on a repeat, but we'll get to some stuff that we haven't talked about. But bottom line, consistency of posts. When you consistently post, the algorithm of social media starts picking you up frequently, and it's going to allegedly spread it to more people, and more people will see it. All right. So social media to me is definitely the long game. But what ended up happening for me in social media that really noticed a difference in my business was once I posted evidence of success. Once I sold my first house, once I sold my second house, people like started taking me legit. And I did like a whole bunch of posts before that, But all of a sudden, now that I did like a couple sales, people from my social media started reaching out to me to help them, buy or sell, mostly buy. But so yeah, messaging your Facebook friends, hey, who do you know that might be moving? Same thing. Hey, catching up real quick. Would I come out right out and say, boom, I haven't talked to this person. Hey, who do you know? Hey, who do you know? There's people that do that, and that's just not my vibe. Um, but I guess you could do that. It could be a numbers game. Um, so you know what to do on post. You're doing well with your post. I would just say stay consistent with it, even if you're not seeing things immediately return. It's putting it out there. Um, what you can post to your Facebook page. I did share this. All these green slides are from Rick's training. He is, in my opinion, fairly aggressive in sales, and he does pretty well. But again, it's not necessarily my style, not all of it. So I kind of say that I do 65% of Rick Tankersley's trainings, and I'm not all in on it. But it works. But you could post this, right, for your friends to see. Hey, I have clients looking to purchase a home. Do you or do you not? They don't really know that. I mean, I think you could post this if you felt comfortable, you know, um, even if you don't have clients that are looking to buy, and see if you could get any feedback on it. I will say change up your posts from time to time, and try to get interactive posts going. So some posts I like your what do you call it? This or that,
Yeah,
Christina?
my this or that Thursday posts are by far the most engaged,
Yeah.
um, like by a lot. So
Yeah,
yeah.
people love engagement on that. Even on stories, do a little question. There's different types of stories you could put up there. So the interaction is really cool. Um, but yeah, consistency of posting there. Facebook Marketplace. This is I got my very first deal from a Facebook Marketplace dude, and he actually referred me business a couple times now. And I will say that I probably posted over 100 before I got that deal. I will also follow that up with saying I probably didn't follow up as well as I should have with all those previous ones. But if you start posting today, if you did 5 today, you're not going to see any action. If you do 5 tomorrow, you're not going to see any action. You pretty much have to say, okay, starting Monday, like commit to Monday through Friday of next week, I'm going to do 5 every day. And that's going to be 25. And I think it has something to do with like the algorithm of how Facebook works. But you will probably see some interaction, but you do that like going into week 2, and all of a sudden you're doing 5 a day, you're going to start seeing Facebook Messenger pop up from random people, and more than likely they're just going to say, hey, is this available, and this is what to say back to them. All right. Prospects will message you, when would you like to see it, please give me your phone number. So again, some of this is a little aggressive. I like to not be so aggressive. Hey, it is still available, would you like to go see it? That's definitely a fair question. Right. I'm available at this time. So just change it up the way that you would speak. My wife says that I'm a really good writer, and I used to write these weekly emails when I was teaching. And I did think that they came across really well. And it's funny because I hated English and writing and reading growing up, and I was a terrible writer, But the way that I write is how I would speak, all right? How I would say this to another person. So I think it's kind of a more personal way of writing. I don't do it very often. I probably should. Um, Alan, anything that you've heard so far that you would like to jump in and kind of say what you do with anything that we've touched? Or the reason I ask is because I was at Shane's office yesterday when your newsletter email popped up,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and it looked good, and I was like, man, that's
Yeah.
something that I've never done. I probably should be doing.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that or anything else that we've talked about?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about this marketplace real quick and then the newsletter. The marketplace, I think, could be really very useful. And I did it for a short time. Like I think most of us do. We do something for a short time and stop. But I do know an agent who's been really, really successful doing that. Evan Rayborn, he's at a different brokerage. But anyway, um, he would do just like Tony's saying, what was like 5 a day or something like that. He put those out there. The the key in that is following up, because you're going to start getting overloaded with that. So having kind of maybe sort of like a copy and paste campaign or something, to address it, and then a specific time you're going to do that every day. So maybe you post it a couple times a week or whatever, but you have a follow-up time every day, which actually probably should be even more frequently. But I think I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I got a buyer out of doing that, and I did it for a short time. But I think, especially if we're working with a low budget, this is like a great way. Instead of doing like Facebook ads or paying for Google or PPC stuff, to just do this, and get stuff going. The other thing too, and this is borderline probably not the most ethical thing, but you can click on somebody's profile and kind of decide if it's going to be worth your time. I mean, let's be honest. If somebody's chugging a beer in their profile picture, probably not go down that road. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think it's a good way of kind of screening your leads, which you can't do if you get like a Google lead. You just have a phone and an email. So I think that could be really effective if you stick to it long term, just like everything else.
Yeah, I'll quick interject on that.
Yeah.
The copy and paste, I did do that. So just
Yeah.
down here on the notes, I would make a note right there.
Yeah.
And I think it's on my phone. Is obviously it's connected to my phone. So even if I'm texting, all these follow-ups, I would just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, like a response of some sort, some generic response. Um, for that. So yeah, it definitely helps. But yeah, you will, like, if you do that consistently for 2, 3 weeks, you'll go, good Lord, my messenger's blowing up from all these people. And
Yeah.
it's like, you want to try to get back to them as soon as possible if you can. And that's why maybe download the app on your phone, the messenger, so you could boom, just I'll look into it or whatever it is. Um, so so yeah, it's good, but you will have to probably post quite a bit. I think they say online leads are 1 in 100. So if you do 100 in a month, then you should hopefully get a lead out of it, or a solid deal out of it. And if you're doing this full time like you are, Christina, it's like, hey, don't have much business going on right now, might as well do this. So we were all there. Ricky Caruth, I just saw a post today on his, and he was talking about we were all there at one point where it's like we don't have any business for several months. Just keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing. I remember Alan and Mark telling me the same thing. I was like, when am I getting paid? They're like, dude, you're doing way more than most, and it'll come. I was like, okay. So trust the process. Expires and for sale by owners. What's crazy is the expireds. Obviously, in this market, there's not as many, but there's still some expireds out there. I as I was posting this, I'm gonna go ahead and go over real quick. Even right now, in a search on the MLS, I looked at. I just did the expireds. All right, down here, EXP. Kind of funny. Expired. And then my area, because I'm not going to go across town for an expired, but I live right over here. So I could easily pull up. Let's just go 6 months back. All right. And boom, 10 houses. And that's not a lot, but also I go, you know what? I'm going to go knock on 2 of these doors every day this next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to knock out all 10 of these. Now, obviously, you click on them and you see what they are. They were on the market for a little while. It came down. Some of them are new, but this shows, bam, this one expired on May 31st. All right. And it was on the market for 196 days total. It looked like they might have switched agents. And over here in the top right, I don't know if you know this, Christina, but the additional information, listing and property history, will kind of tell you where it's at right now. So you saw that it expired, but over here you notice that it is active right now, but it's active as a rental. All right. So I don't know. It's 57 days on the market. It still hasn't rented. That's pretty wild. Um, so I wouldn't necessarily, I probably wouldn't go knock on that door since it's technically active. All right. But you can kind of sort through these and find a handful that, are probably expired. So this Remax lady didn't get it done. It was on the market for a while. Um, let's see if it's still up. Oh, it says sold. So I guess it expired and then it came back and it sold. So, you know, um, this doesn't take very long, right? So, I can spend 30 minutes or less, all right, as a full-time agent, and I don't have a lot of business going on right now and going, where can I find more business? Maybe I look at this once a week, and see if there's anything new pops up. Um, and go, hey, I'm gonna go knock on that door, or I'm gonna, drop off a flyer for them, or whatever it is, and figure out why it expired. More than likely, it was price, and do that. We've talked about the for sale by owner and how to find those on Zillow, so I'm not going to go over that a lot. Um, but they are out there. There's plenty of them out there, and I would definitely go to Zillow, search for sale by owner in the area that you want to be in, and go, there's no reason in this market your house shouldn't have been sold in the past month, and go, hey, tell me about your house. And then you just form that relationship and start the follow-up game. So it's definitely a way of that you might want to consider adding to what you're already doing. 90% of them are going to um, use an agent. Pretty crazy, right? So start your for sale by owner tracking and stick with it. Renters, this is really cool. And this is another thing that Rick has talked about. I've never done it, but every time he's mentioned it, it kind of perks my ears and go, huh, if I have a dry time where I have no business and not a lot going on, hey, I need to jump back into doing something to find business. So pretty much do the exact same thing. Our records show that your lease may be ending soon. Wanted to tell you about a couple homes in the neighborhood that you can buy for the same or maybe even less monthly payment. And why are they renting? Well, I don't want to be responsible for maintenance. Well, then the quick, easy one is like, hey, I can get you a home, no money down, comparable or nicer home, and provide a home warranty for the first year that will take care of anything that goes wrong with the house, right? So there's always a follow-up to that. For instance, you just go back to the search, and you would change it to residential rental, right? And we want to see not what's active, but we want to see what's rented. All right. Let's say 9 months ago. Where's that? Months back. All right. So 9 months ago, they rented this place. It's probably on a 1-year lease. All right. And this would be I didn't pick an area. It's a lot of people. So again, my area of town, and good Lord, there's a lot. All right. 235. In the past 9 months. So you might want to bring that down. You can adjust the price point that you might be looking at. Maybe you just do a look at the map, and find out exactly what area. There's a lot of rentals in here. Redland Oaks area. And so find out. It takes a little time of the research, but I think Christina and I'm not calling you out by any means. Um, but you were talking about, you've been look at the MLS and, kind of been looking at different neighborhoods and price points of different neighborhoods, which is all great and all good. But maybe your time might be more efficient in like looking at some of these things that I just showed you on the MLS, as far as like, hey, here's potential business
Oh
instead
yeah, for sure.
instead of just going, oh, I know how much houses are going for that area, etc. Because you will learn that as you go. But just a thought. Um, let's keep going. I'm doing pretty good on time. Um, Businesses. I have actually dropped off business cards at Pete's Taco House. Yeah, certain places like that. Like, don't go to like Walmart and go, "Hey, I need to talk to your manager," and blah blah. Go to small local businesses. I used to live close to the Pearl. Pete's Taco House was a local taco place. A bunch of people had business cards set up there. Throw some down. Probably, I mean, it's probably a long shot, but let's say you went to the same coffee shop 3 to 5 times a week, and you start knowing the people, they know you by name, and all of a sudden you make a connection, and then you just start talking to them and building that communication up and going, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? They themselves might be looking to buy or sell. Crazy story. I was ordering Bill Miller's in the drive-through, and I was on a call talking about real estate, and the dude that was taking my order asked for my card because he's interested in buying a house. I was like, hell yeah, dude. So I got his name and number, and he's now on my hot warm list. He hasn't returned a phone call yet, but he's still there. He asked for it, so I should probably follow up. So just and I saw this. I have an EXP sticker on the back of my computer laptop. So if I'm set up somewhere, if I'm doing work at a coffee shop, people see it. Probably most people don't know what it is, but it does say realty at the bottom, not crazy big. But people start noticing that and might even ask you a question or two. So put it out there. Events. My second deal ever came from a Chamber of Commerce event. A Chamber of Commerce event that I was invited to. I wasn't even a member, and this guy that I met there was visiting from Chicago, and he was invited there. And all of a sudden, I got his name and number. He calls me 2, 3 months later and says, "Hey, I'm moving to San Antonio. Can you help me find a place?" I said, "Hell yeah." Attending events, being at local schools. The school that I'm moving close to is out by Timberwood Park, and I drove past the elementary school, and whose face do I see right there? I see Pat Hayes' face, and he's on the side of the fence. I'm like, oh, damn it. He's already in this territory, which of course everybody is, but that doesn't mean you can't be too. Be involved in church. The church that I started attending, they all know I'm a realtor, and several of them have come up and asked me questions about it. So just being involved in the community in general, um, going to fun events as well, go to the beer fest and meet people and have cards. I always carry 25 cards in a rubber band in my back pocket, and that's what Rick says. And of course, again, he's pretty aggressive. He said you should try to get rid of 25 cards every single day. Just hand out cards. I'm like, that's not what I do, but okay. Um, my uncle, who's old school, he kind of does that, and he just hands out cards. But yeah, be active, be involved, be around people, and more contacts, more, which is people, will equal more contracts. Yard sales. Why are they having a yard sale? I know we're gonna start selling some stuff here as soon at my parents because we're moving. Right. So a lot of times people might be doing a yard sale because they're interested in just decluttering, but they might be moving as well, or they know somebody in the family that's moving, or whatever it may be. Um, so if you like attending yard sales, go chat it up. Geofarm or door knocking. Um, I've done a little bit of door knocking, um, and can't remember his name right now. Did some door knocking. He almost got a list in his neighborhood from doing like one day of door knocking. Um, but bottom line is you can look up certain neighborhoods by following this courthouse retrieval system. I've done it a couple times. I'm not real familiar with it, so I don't want to waste too much time of like exploring and. But you can follow these prompts that come from Rick, and you can get a list of like every house in the neighborhood. Whatever neighborhood you pick. Now you have to like go door knock. It's not going to give you a phone number. I think it does give you a name of the owner, but there's a system in there that you can find information about each house, and I think it even tells you how long they've lived there or when the last time it sold. I'll try to dig that up and share that in more detail later. But go knock on the doors and just introduce yourself. They say if you live in a neighborhood, which I don't yet, you should try to dominate that neighborhood, right? Like everybody in that neighborhood should know your name and should know that you do real estate. Maybe not aggressively, but you're seen at the neighborhood pool frequently. You're seen at the neighborhood park frequently. I know you take your son to the park a lot. Have you met anybody at the park?
No, but I've been thinking about, like you mentioned, if you have something that says EXP on you, that's a really easy way. I was thinking about getting just some t-shirts with like, that little graphic on it and wearing that when I take them out to parks or kids, party places and stuff, and just, it'll come up easily, I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely. Melanie McMullen is a big time popular agent with EXP. She has a bunch of EXP like T-shirts, big
Hmm.
logo. I think some of them even say "Ask me about real estate." You know, and if you feel comfortable in wearing that, go for it. It probably works. It probably at least gets people to look at it. Um, so those type of things are pretty important. I've done it this way. Rule of five, right? When you're viewing a listing or go to an open house or show a property, knock on the two homes next door to the home and the three across the street. I was just showing this property, it's going for X, have several buyers. They didn't care for that one. Have you thought about selling? There's a big demand in your area. Oh no, screw off, get off my property. Okay, thanks. And go to the next one. I did this and I almost picked up another deal for an open house. I hosted the open house. I got there early. I knocked down the street and just had some conversations, some pretty decent conversations. And I needed to do a better job. The most important thing when you're having those conversations is see if you can at least get a phone number. Like if it's going well, like, hey, well, I work in the area. I send out stuff to let everybody know, what's going on with the market. Would you be happy if I sent that to you? What's a good email address for you? Or is there a good phone number I could call you back with? So try to get that. Handing out cards is great, but I always make the mistake of handing out the card and I never get their information. The likelihood of them calling me from the card, I think, is very unlikely. But the likelihood of me calling them because I have their number is definitely more likely because that's part of my job, right? So do that. Alan, did you have something? It looked like you wanted to jump in.
Every now and then I get something. I don't remember what the last one was. I like that a lot, though, man. That is great. And you know, you were describing, like, somebody opens the door and they go, "Hey, get the heck out of here." But uh, I door knocked when I first in this, and I did not do that for very long. But I've done a lot of uncomfortable phone calls, cold calls, and stuff like that. And every now and then you just get somebody, especially right now with the way the market's going, people are seeing their values go through the roof. Every now and then you're going to have someone that goes, you know what, we're actually considering it, like we've been talking about it, and then, oh, this is probably what I was going to chime in about, is what I like with the business card is like, oh, you know what, I didn't have my business cards today, what's the best number to follow up with, what's the best email to follow up with you with? you know, um, rather than giving your stuff away. I think it's better to do it the opposite way. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And I've actually done that by accident. But what's cool is and I did it somehow on KV Core, but I have a digital business card and it's saved in my photos. All right. So I go, hey, I don't have my card on me. I have a digital business card. What's your phone number? I'll send it to you real quick. And it's boom, it's a photo of me and my information and it's there. And now all of a sudden I have the phone number. And
yeah,
yeah.
I really like hey, what's the best number for you? And you look down and you just start going like they're going to give it to you. Hey, what's the best email for you? Not even eye contact. You're just, and it's just human nature. They go, oh yeah, and it's here's my email, and they just give it to you.
Yeah,
I think that works well.
for sure. And again, the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, and the better you are at it. Like for me personally, I don't do really cold calls because I could do it and I could follow a script, but I would much rather meet somebody in person, and that's why I like doing the open houses. Why I'm not too afraid of door knocking. I mean, I don't do a lot of it, but I may go door knock a little bit on Saturday's open house. Just say, hey, we're having an open house. Stop on by. It's a good reason. I'm not bothering you. And if that bothers you, then screw off. Go on to the next.
That's what I love about open houses, Tony, is like once you meet those people, even if it's real quick, when you give them that follow up call on Monday or Tuesday, whenever you get to it, it's not cold at all. I mean, it's, you guys know each other at that point,
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of, asking them the right questions, so that's why I love open houses. You've already got that face to face. So,
yeah,
uh, I really think if you do 3 or 4 of those a month, you should be closing one deal a month.
yeah,
And the compound effect on that's real too. Like, it's not just that one buyer, it's their sphere and their referrals.
yeah.
So, it just branches off from that. That's how I got my first 3 listings was open houses, just by word of mouth, doing open houses.
My first listing was an open house. Some guy walked in on the open house and he was selling the house down the street, and that's how it happened. And I saw this great thing from somebody online. He's like, is it worth doing open houses? I think that's what it was called, right? And he said, I think Ninja Selling says it. I think every 1 out of 16 leads you get from an open house is a deal, right? So let's just say you did, every single month, well, once a week, you did open house every Saturday for a full month. More than likely, you're going to get at least 4 people walking in and hopefully signing in. Right. So if you just did 4 every single time, that's 16 leads in a month. All right. You should get one deal out of that. You get one deal a month, that's 12 times the average of $6,000. That's $72,000 of income just from doing open houses. Now, that's obviously if you do one every single week for the whole year, but what if you did half of that? What if $36,000 of income is you did 2 open houses a month or whatever it is? Like, yeah, that makes sense. The open houses work as long as you follow up well, right? Because it's great to meet people, but if you don't do anything after the open house, then it was a waste of time, right? So just make sure you follow up. Op City is you're definitely going to get leads. Have you heard of this, Christina?
I
Um,
have not.
Download it as soon as we're done here. It's an app called Op City, all right, and it's going to you have to get approval from your broker. There's a process to it, um, but pretty much your broker is going to say yes, Christina is an agent with EXP, and Op City will bring you on board. And what it is, it just sends a lead to your text message, and you have an Op City lead, right? And you have to act quickly, all right, because it goes out to like everybody, and you click on it, and they'll tell you what the budget is, what's their timeline, and kind of what area of town they're looking for. Again, if I didn't have very many leads, I would just accept whatever the hell it was, right? It's like, I don't have anything right now, I'll take it. Um, and then all of a sudden, you win the lead, right? And literally within 1 minute, your phone's going to ring. and you're going to be connected to somebody on the other line through OpCity. They're going to say, hey, Christina, this is Tony with OpCity. On the other line, I have Alan. He's a buyer looking in Alamo Heights for $500,000. And you're like, yeah, baby. and and I'm going to connect you. You have all the information that you need on your app. All right. You have any questions? No, sounds great. Connect me. And boom, all of a sudden they get off the phone and you're talking to a buyer. And everyone that I've talked to is legit. Like, they are interested. They might not be ready to buy right now. They might be ready to buy in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. It's usually not much longer than that. But they are pretty active. And I think it's through Realtor.com. I believe OpCity is like bought by Realtor.com or whatever. But you don't have to pay for it. It's free. They just send you a lead. And then obviously you start a follow up. You set them up on a search based off of what they're looking for. And they do take a referral payment at closing. So you don't pay anything until closing. So let's say $6,000 commission. You may have to pay up to like 30%, I think is the max. But again, you get 70% of 6,000 for free, really. I mean, obviously you have to do the work of showing and, doing all that follow up with them, but you will definitely start getting uh, leads from this. So I definitely recommend that you download OpCity. Any experience with OpCity, Alan?
Yeah, I closed 2 deals with OpCity. I think it's 2. It might be 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a pretty high referral fee, but I recommend it all day because you're not paying anything up front. It's basically what Zillow is doing. Zillow is doing live connections, and people are paying like minimum $500 a month to Zillow. So yeah, you get hit at the end, but I closed a $420,000 buyer with OpCity, closed them, paid an enormous fee, but the commission was still good. I showed them one house. I got lucky with that one, obviously. They liked it. We bought it. They referred their brother she referred her son, who is an attorney, and they literally just closed on a house. So that ended up being 2 deals. I got my money back that I paid OpCity and more. And I actually did, I think I did another buyer, but I definitely did a listing through OpCity, which I was never expecting.
Wow.
But I think the huge part of that is no upfront costs, which is great, and the opportunity to obviously close that if you got nothing going on, and then the referral if you do a good job for them, which we all will. So I definitely recommend it. Wish we could get more of them. And the trick to this is you've got to work all these bad ones, and you got to call them and follow up. And if it doesn't work out, you hit release the thing, but just keep following up in the tool itself. So OpCity sees that you're proactive. And yeah, you're gonna have to take out a buyer that's like, hey, my budget's 150 or whatever. Just try it, just work it. Because what OpCity will do is once they've seen that you've either been in contact or even better, you've closed a couple of deals, now you're going to rank higher. So they're going to, give you more leads more frequently. But man, there's so many people on this right now. I think it's just slow for everybody. But yeah, you just got to, do real well with it and follow up. But that's the key.
Yeah, where I dropped the ball a little bit on it, but I still got quite a bit of leads that were legit. But on the app, you'll have to like update like every week. Like every lead that you get, you have to update OpCity of where you're at in the transaction. And so I got lazy and I wouldn't update it, and then they pretty much disabled me. And said, well, you're not using the app. But if you don't have a lot of business going on, hey, just update that. Sometimes it's like we're still talking. That's literally all you have to do. I just got super lazy and didn't do it for whatever reason. I probably should jump back on it, but I definitely recommend it. You will get leads going, oh, damn, I got a lead. Oh, I got a lead. So it works.
I do the same thing, Tony. I'm so lazy about it. It's like warning me, like, hey, update this. And I see it as a distraction, but it's so worth actually just hitting spoke and then closing the app. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's so easy, and I'm like, why did I let it expire? I'm an idiot. I don't know. But yeah, so some of these things, that I've shown you so far, I don't do all of them, or I do a little bit, or sometimes I just happen to do one that I didn't even really plan on doing one, you know. But I'm trying to give as many different options of like, hey, try this. Hey, try this. This could work. This could work. So 150 lead generation ideas. I don't know if you've seen this. But it should be somewhere. Did I get rid of it? I probably got rid of it. Give me 1 second. Um, it's a list that I downloaded from one of the EXP World trainings. And I don't even know who started this, but 150 ideas for lead generating sources. This list has come from several training classes taken and also given, including one from Gene Frederick years ago. But it has a long list of just ideas. And I will quickly kind of run through them. I'm not going to read every single one. Some of this is really old. Like, I can't believe they have MySpace on here. But, social media. All right. Craigslist. I'm not sure what Active Rain is. Zillow, the for sale by owner stuff that you could look through there. Um, Airports. That's interesting. But hey, again, talk to anybody and everybody and just be friendly, and you never know. I love Pat Hayes. You're one call away from changing your life, all right? Or you're one deal away from life changing activity. That one dude. I'm having lunch next week with this guy that I just closed on. He's a retired military dude that just bought a condo downtown with me, and he knows a lot of people in the area. So I'm like, this could totally return into like a good referral partner. Golf courses, taxi services or Uber. I was in an Uber recently coming home, and we just started talking. And of course, I asked her one of my favorite questions. Oh, you do this full time, or what do you do for a living? Oh, yeah, I blah, 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 blah. Oh, what do you do? Oh, well, I'm in real estate. Oh, that's cool. And oh, yeah, my friend, do you live here? And then it just goes from there, you know. Hotels, car shows, uh, anything and everything, right? So as you start looking at this list, you go, okay. I mean, there's I can't remember his name, but there's one dude like 4 months ago that I felt like bought every single billboard in San Antonio. Do you remember seeing that dude's face on like every billboard in San Antonio? And he was like, "We sell your house for top dollar and in 2 days," or something like
Oh,
that.
Christopher Waters.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden I don't even see it anymore. I guess he paid for it a little bit and took it down. Um,
Oh,
and I would have, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call a billboard, but I'm sure somebody would, or somebody did. Of course, that's probably high dollar spending, to do all that. Churches, pretty much every single person, because I go to a small church, they know that I'm in real estate, and I'm probably the only realtor in that church besides Jim Ragsdale. All right, and it's like, okay, um, billboards, teaching classes. I would, speaking of the EXP apparel, so I did insurance enrollments at SAISD last year. Hated it, boring as hell. All right. But I did have my big Yeti jug that had an EXP sticker on it. I had my laptop pulled up with my EXP sticker on it. And I had my business card strategically placed right in front of them as they sat down. So I didn't even really have to mention EXP or real estate. And it just kind of casually came up pretty much every single teacher that sat down, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I got like 10 to 12 teacher leads, that, you know, if they're not buying, maybe their son's buying. Some of them were like getting ready to retire. Oh, my son's looking to buy a house. Great. Here's my card. What's your information? Well, I already have it because I'm already enrolling you. I'll give you a call. So just kind of put it out there.
Just once, good. I mean, um, obviously the goal of that is, to give them some value, let them have a good time, give them, this is for all your, like your sphere, mostly your past clients.
Mhm.
Do a couple drink tickets. And the key is, well, the goal is to try to get some referrals out of doing it. Um, and like Tony, you're right around where you probably should do one because you've got a good list of past clients.
Yeah.
And I would recommend just doing it because I learned a lot from doing it myself. Things I would change, places I would go. But yeah, events could be really valuable for referrals for sure. And you can get your referral partners or like vendors to help you pay for it. Title lenders, those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'll hit you up later because I do want to talk about that since find out what you learned about it and things that I might want to look into doing. Um, Again, this list goes on and on and on. Teachers, your son's going to eventually go to school, so like every teacher that they have should know that you're in real estate, right? Um, Not super aggressively, but they should be aware. Car dealer, dude. I almost picked up a dude. Um, Again, if only my follow up game was really good, I'd probably be crushing this. And that goes with every single realtor in real estate. Is the follow up game is either good or average or not good. But I was getting my car repaired. I was moving my stuff from my trunk, like my golf bag, and of course I had my open house signs in there. So he was helping me load up my trunk, and he's like, "You sell houses?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Oh, I'm renting right now, but I'm thinking about buying." Boom, here's my card. What's your number? Let me hit you up. So anywhere and everywhere is the key. Um, so I could share this with y'all if you like. I'll probably put this up in the Facebook page just so that people can reference it. And then we only have one more slide to go. But I did want to talk a little bit about business partners. We talked about this yesterday with Christina. But these are like my business partners that I use, and Alan has some great ones as well. And when I first started, like you, Christina, I didn't have any of this. I was like, I don't have business partners. Like, who do I go to? So what did I do? Hey, Alan, who do you use for this? Hey, Mark, who do you use for this? Text him. Hey, Jim Ragsdale, who do you use for this? Okay, cool. I like them. Good. All right. So Thrive Mortgage, Expedient Mortgage, Mark Kale. Who's Mark Kale with? What's the
Uh,
company?
Legacy.
Legacy Mutual. That's right. So I need to. I'm gonna go ahead and change this real quick. Legacy Mutual. Couldn't think of it. I haven't used them yet, but Mark is Kale's new into the lending side of things. I think that's how you spell it, maybe. But I'm not too worried that he's new into it because number one, he has great support, and number two, he's really brilliant at everything and is hardworking. So I'll probably be sending him some business as well. Help him out. Credit repair. I met this guy through Rick Tankersley's trainings. Harley Walters, North American Title. I met Shane through Alan's training that he did for us. And North American Title does great work. Home Warranty is with Caroline Daly. She's one of the sweetest older ladies that I've ever met. So I just send her my home warranties because she does it like that, and it's super sweet. Contractors is my Uncle Joe. He has his little side business and he does great work at a good price. And everybody that I've sent him has been happy. I also have Marisol. She's done a couple things. I got her name from Mark Chambers. And photography, I use Real Image Pros because they are reasonable in pricing. I know who's the big name you use, Alan?
Bright and early.
Yeah, Bright and Early. That they do some awesome work. A little more pricey, and my but they do some really high end stuff. Um, Signage, I use Acme Reprographics in Selma. I met them at a Rick Tinkersley training. So a lot of these is like, oh, I don't know who to use, but this guy keeps showing up, so I guess I'll use them, and I've been happy with them, so I stick with that. BPG inspections with Clint Doherty. I've done several different inspectors. Clint is just a really nice guy and explains things in really good detail, so I try to get him if I can. And then new builds. They're saying that Rick says to visit new builds and start a relationship with those people. I don't find that necessarily works. I mean, maybe it does, but what I do is bring business to the new build. So, for instance, I have a go to person at Lennar and a go to person at KB Homes. All right. So, anytime that somebody might be interested in KB Homes, I'm like, I've worked with several at both of them. All right. But there's like a go-to that's like, this person's really good, communicates really well, and is very professional. I want to use them every single time, because especially most of them do what is it called, cross something selling.
So
Yeah, cross sell. So pretty much if they're in one community, they can sell in any community in San Antonio. So it's just like, I know this person decently and they communicate well, so I'm going to use them. So this will continue to grow as you get more familiar. If something comes up and you go, hey, I need this, but I don't know who to call me, call Alan, call Mark. If I don't know it, I'm going to call one of those two guys and they're going to know it. If they don't know it, they're going to be like, ask Rick Tinkersley. So there's always a huge source of help um, from all of us. So that pretty much concludes. We went over just a little bit. I hopefully you have a little bit more ideas of like, you know what, I'm going to add this to my business plan. All right. I like this idea. For me right now, I still do open houses. It's still social media, sort of, kind of. It's a few things that have done well. I'm getting some referrals all of a sudden, which is pretty awesome feeling, right? Because I'm not really searching for it. And what else? Social media, open house, sphere. Those are like my go-tos. And I've been saying that I want to kind of get in the for sale by owner game again, only because I felt good when I did it, because I made appointments pretty easily, but I just didn't have a good follow-up game. And now I feel like surely my follow-up game is at least better than what it was, so I'd probably do okay with that. Um, so yeah, those are some ideas, and hopefully you can run with that. Uh, any questions? Any comments? Anything?
Tony, I just want to say thank you for doing this, and I appreciate it because I got a bunch of things out of here too. And yeah, if you don't mind posting that
Mhm.
lead generation list, I actually put in the comments. Uh, Gene Frederick has a book, 101 Ways to Lead Generate, but I don't think we need the book because I think all his stuff is on there plus more.
Yeah,
So no, I think that's really great. And again, thank you so much. And Christina, great to meet you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also, yeah, if you don't mind sharing my contact info, I'm here to help. You know that, Tony.
yeah.
That's what I do. So, with your sales or just personal development stuff, mindset, growing your group, all of that stuff, I'm happy to help with.
Sounds great, man. I'll definitely do that. Thanks for jumping in here. Uh, Christina, I know you've been attending some trainings on the in the world, so a lot of that comes from. I think every single week they have, God, what is it called? Lead Generation 101 or whatever, and
Mhm.
like they just keep adding to that list. People come up with ideas and they're creative and like, oh, that's a really good idea. Let's add it to the list. So I think that's where that list kind of came from. So yeah, just continue to soak it in and take action. It blows my mind, Alan, and we've talked about this. Sometimes we get in that lull of not doing anything, and then like yesterday, I had a crazy productive day, and
Yeah.
it's just like I texted 5 people, and they all texted back, and it was like, wow, like as soon as you take a little action, it's like bam, 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 bam. and it just starts going. So take some kind of action and get the ball moving, and then it just becomes easier.
Yeah, this was super useful. Thank you guys so much. I feel like it was like a little TMEA, like boost your motivation, like here's what you should be doing. That's like exactly what this felt like. So
Cool.
definitely gives me a lot of ideas of stuff to add onto my daily routines. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for hopping on, and
Thank you, Tony.
we'll probably see each other next week.